Hello and welcome.
This is Gertie.
I'm Gertie and this is Ella.
I'm Ella, and this is our channel. Today, crazy.
Sorry.
Today we have a really fun video, and it's all on recovery. And when we say recovery, we're talking about like recovering from a PMDD episode, and that can mean different things for different people, but it could be like after a big blowout argument or a depressive state that you've been in or a panic attack. We're gonna cover some things that we like to do to recover, what we've heard from other people, all that stuff. So yeah, let's get into it.
Disclaimer before we start, we want to just say that while we're talking about this, keep in mind self-compassion, being kind to yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and everybody's different. Like, I recover from an episode, and my episodes present differently than Gertie does.
We will hopefully be talking about other people's experiences along with ours, so maybe you'll be able to see that there's no right way to do it. It's all about just doing what feels good for you. Yeah. We've tried to separate it into, I think, four main categories.
Yeah.
To what we think is the most important things to cover. And the first one being sleep.
We both get extremely exhausted after what we're calling an episode.
Yeah, like definitely exhaustion is a symptom, but also a trigger. And sleep is just one of those things that it's kind of hard to come to terms with when you're 20 and you're supposed to have basically the drive and like the ability to survive on nothing but like sleep deprivation and caffeine, and unfortunately
Adderall and
that is something that we have quickly realized does not work for us.
Big one for me. I know that it's something that I need, and especially after a big episode, I try to go to sleep. If it's nighttime, which it normally is after I have an episode, I try to go to sleep as early as possible. And to just be easy on myself, like if I have something to do that night that I was planning on doing, putting it off if I can't, and just being like, can't do it tonight, going to sleep.
For me, yes, episodes usually happen towards the end of the night, anywhere from like when I get home from work or whatever I'm doing. It's just basically a crash really for me, and then I completely spiral. My dad always had a mantra for me, which was up late, not great. And I live by that.
Words to live by for sure. My mom also had a mantra because, you know,
parents of people with PMDD.
Hers was, you've passed your window, though. It wasn't really a mantra. It was just something she would say to me. Basically meaning, like, you're up too late. That's why you're spiraling. Sometimes it is hard to fall asleep after you've had a big breakdown. So it's important to remember that even if you're not sleeping, rest in general can be super beneficial.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to keep in mind, because sometimes it can feel so frustrating when you know that all you need is sleep and you can't fall asleep. Yeah. Just remember and remind yourself that what you're doing is just taking time and resting, and even that is going to benefit you. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
The next one, and I think personally the biggest one, is food. Food is the fuel, it's the energy, it's what keeps us alive. It's a touchy subject for some, and especially people with PMDD, it can be a very complicated relationship, and it's definitely something to talk about.
Yeah, and I think we all like have a little bit of fear when we hear people start to talk about food, because we're like, oh, here we go again. Now they're just gonna go on and on about eating healthy. That might make some people's body feel good.
If that is what like brings you the most joy and happiness and helps you recover the quickest, amazing. Yeah. But we're definitely coming at it from the perspective from like intuitive eating and whatever makes you feel good. Listen, you're going through a rough time. Don't push yourself too hard. No. You don't have to be the type of person that a smoothie bowl will make them feel amazing.
It's the fact that you are eating, it's so much better for you than just being like, oh, I have nothing that's supposed to be like healthy to eat. I just have frozen pizza. Eat the frozen pizza.
Just be gentle on yourself. It's okay that you can't make a meal. Eat whatever you can, whatever you're craving.
Hydrate or die. Drink some liquids.
If you have the financial ability or to order something or whatever, and even if you don't, make sure you have easy meals or backup plans. Frozen things are really great.
We will now kind of transition into a quick field trip to Gertie's kitchen.
I'm going to be showing you some things that are my backup plan meals and my PMDD meals that help me.
Oh, hey there. Welcome to my kitchen. Let me take you around. So, for emergency meals, I actually personally bought a Costco membership. Costco has easy meals that are easy to prepare and can be stored for a long periods of time, and you buy them in bulk. My personal favorite meal are... Oh, Jesus. Costco dumplings. They come with a sauce. You cut the corner off, you put it in the microwave, you pack it like this lunch. Shit, I'm not tall enough. It's soup. It's pantry stable, and it also is microwavable, and it just stays there until I'm ready to eat it.
And now we are going to visit Ella in her
kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. Over here we have my cupboard. It says my name on it. And in the cupboard we have all of my food. Something that I really like is tea, so I have all my tea here. I have granola, because I find that's a really easy breakfast, or like cereal or something. I got some soup, some tuna, because those are just like really easy meals. Granola bars that I take to work, especially on PMDD days, in case I get snacky. Emergency bag of chips, because you never know. And emergency chocolate. I have a little mac and cheese back here. On my door, it also says, the best thing in life is food. Make sure you eat. It's true. And it's just a list of some stuff that I have in the fridge in case I forget what I bought, because I often do. Because our fridge is chaotic. There's a lot of stuff in the fridge. There's 5 people living in this house. Don't zoom in on it. It's really messy. What, did you zoom in on it? I hope that was enjoyable for everybody to see.
Yeah.
I mean, don't force yourself, but think about it. Think about what you've had to eat, because, I mean, I know for me and from what I'm hearing online from a lot of people, food is the thing that helps them recover quicker and makes them feel better.
That is true. It's also important to note, I know for me, I have a really big loss of appetite, so I can actually only eat things that I crave or that are small. Mm-hmm. So for me, things like 1 banana is all that I can eat in a day. And at the same time, like, that's okay too. I used to try HelloFresh to make sure that I just had ingredients to make healthy meals and things that I could rely on that were going to give me energy. But it turns out that I actually cannot spend an hour making a meal when I've just gotten home from work and I'm depressed. So that did not fully work out for me.
Yeah. And sometimes people's recovery is cooking. Anyway.
I think the next thing that we wanted to talk about is just lifestyle. Self-care is a huge one under that thing. I know that we can each kind of talk about our self-care routines.
I think for me, I need a lot of alone time, and that's kind of my self-care. That's what it's become. Having a hot shower. If I have the energy, yoga makes me feel better just to stretch out a little bit. There is sometimes creative stuff like playing my ukulele or journaling or whatever, and sometimes it's just watching Netflix.
Yeah, for me, my big one is I like to take a bath. It kind of feels like I'm washing away what just happened, and I'm at the stage of my life where I'm so busy I don't really watch shows anymore. So lying in bed and getting comfy and just being alone and being able to watch something feels like such a good moment for me.
Good.
Speaking of self-care, we actually have a very special clip to show of Ella's self-care after a breakdown.
Yeah, I had a big breakdown, and this is how I dealt with it, so.
I find that after I have an episode, the best thing to focus on right away is self-care and cheering myself up. So tonight, that means ice cream and then sleep as soon as possible.
Maybe it was helpful to see someone in full action. So sacrificing is also a huge thing that people with PMDD have to deal with, whether that's friendships or activities. Personally for me, I'm 20 years old and I have come to the realization that I can't smoke or drink or go out really often at all. It really makes me spiral, and it was kind of a tough pill to swallow because these are the years that everyone's doing that, and everyone around you see is like going downtown,
going
like
to
doing
clubs,
whatever.
And
we did want to disclose that we're not saying our standpoints on any kind of substance such as alcohol or weed is a weird way to say that. Cannabis. That's legal here, by the way. Some people literally get through their day to get to that one glass of wine, or smoking is the only thing that can relieve that for them.
Yeah.
That's just not our experience, and we're not shitting on anyone else's experience.
Because that's a lot of people's recovery. I have a lot of friends that
For
are like,
sure.
I need to do this.
And that is so okay.
So, sacrificing friendships sometimes. It's a lot of the time, like, if you feel like you're in a friendship or a relationship that's pushing you too much, and you feel like there's something expected that you can't provide.
Relationships take time and effort, and for me personally, I find that I have a really hard time with relationships that drain. Yeah. And whether that is relationships that revolve around text messaging, whether that's relationships that need a lot of like planning and outings. I've had to sacrifice a lot of friendships because it drains too much. Sometimes it's just my emotional capacity. I really can only have a handful of close friends. That's all I can take on.
I found for me, going and like planning things like a week in advance and like stresses me out.
Yeah.
Can't, like, the build up to it exhausts me, and then when it comes, I'm drained, I can't do it, and that's when I feel like I need to cancel.
That some people like having it planned out.
Yeah.
So that they know what they need to do and when they need to do it. For me, that's not the case, but...
Bottom line with all this is that you don't owe anybody anything. So really, you know, it's great to have friends, it's great to have people in your life to hang out with, but put people in your life and have those people who are supportive and understand, and people who you can communicate with. And say, hey, I'm not going to be 100% all the time. I'm not going to be able to text you back right away all the time. Yeah. And they understand that. So we're going to talk now about backup plans.
Life still happens, and we still have responsibilities that we need to do. So it's important to know your schedule, know your life, know where you can sacrifice, where you can't sacrifice, and how to make that work for you when you're having an episode. And that's where backup plans come in for me.
Yeah.
Personally, I am a nanny. I don't have anyone there to cover my shift. I can't take a day off. For me, when I wake up for after an episode, I'm completely exhausted, completely drained. And my backup plan to know that I'm going to be okay to go to work is once I wake up, I just get in a really comfortable outfit. I don't worry about my hair. I don't worry about taking a shower. I just get in sweatpants and I immediately get in my car and drive to a drive-through and then sit in my car for like half an hour before I have to go to work and listen to a podcast while I eat fast food. And that is time that I need to gear up for the day. For me, just immediately getting up and getting in my car so I'm already out of the house is very helpful. Being like when I'm in my room, when I'm in my bed, I just don't know if I can get out of bed. I don't know if I can get out the door. I don't know, whatever. If I like don't think about it and I immediately like just try to leave as fast as I can, then once I'm already out, that's a huge step for me. Just getting out of the house, just getting out of bed.
And that's why going to sleep is so important, like early for me, is that because I do want that extra time in the morning if I've had a bad day or I'm in my luteal phase. I'm supposed to go to work, I'm supposed to edit things, I'm supposed to do my class. Yeah. I can't like not do those things. Giving myself that extra time is really important. Tea is a huge thing for me. That extra little boost of caffeine in the morning, that wakes me up. It's like my ritual thing. If I'm running late, in the past I've packed like a thermos with tea in it. I always have like pain medication on hand for like headaches and stuff.
Having supplies on
you is huge. Having water is huge for me. I need to have a water bottle and I need to drink that water. Being around people that you feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm not at 100% today. Taking breaks if you can at the job you're at.
Ideally, we would live in a world where our employers would be accommodating and know about our disability, but unfortunately right now it's so new. There's a lot of stigma associated with a menstrual disability. Just making sure that you know the best way to navigate your situation and what you need. It's really about assessing what's good for yourself. We wanted to separate backup plan and emergency plan. Unfortunately, with this disability, there's a lot of people that deal with suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, and it is important to have an emergency plan. For me personally, I have been in that position, and I do have to have an emergency plan. I have someone to call. I have a crisis line that I can contact if it doesn't get to that point, and I have a way to get to a hospital. And having those under your belt can make you feel so much more secure and a little bit less out of control, because you know what you need to do if you get to that point.
I can always call my mom. They also live an hour away though, so having that extra plan for when things get really bad. And a crisis line is a huge one. I've actually used Kids Help Phone in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I'm not a kid. They help anybody though. And I got to just text with them because I didn't feel like talking on the phone. And that was great, just to kind of vent and get it out, and there's someone there for you.
I have contacted crisis lines a handful of times in the past. I've had to go to a hospital a couple of times. It's a dark side of things. It is really important to have an emergency plan if you're in that position. At the end of every video, we have a list of some resources if you don't know where to start.
Now we're going to briefly go over what some other people said. People said, like, letting yourself cry is a huge one. Letting yourself have that moment, because if you hold it in, and my therapist says this as well, it kind of builds up and it can get way worse. Somebody said journaling after really helps them. They also found meditating and yoga helpful, but sometimes they fall off of it.
It is very common to fall off of things or not feel like you can do things that you know would help you, and that's okay. Be kind, be forgiving, realize that you can't do it right now, move on.
Yeah, somebody said taking the extra time to recover if you can, being gentle and compassionate towards yourself.
This person also says it can take a couple days to recover, but it also is prolonged if you're angry. This person says take the day off and don't push yourself. If you have the ability to take the day off and don't push yourself, do it. Before we leave you today, we will do our check-ins quickly. Ella, how are you doing?
I'm good. Like I said in this video already, I've had a lot of balls up in the air lately. But in terms of PMDD, I found myself getting really exhausted easily and having headaches, but not so much emotional symptoms, which are normally what I have. And that's when it gets to be the worst, is when I'm having like anger and irritability and sadness, and I haven't really had that yet, but I am in my last week before my period starts, so we'll see how it goes. What about you?
I had a really busy week at work, which was difficult, but overall I'm really feeling happy with my decision to go off my birth control, realizing that I'm progesterone intolerant, and realizing that, I feel so much fucking better off of it. Not everybody's experience.
To counteract what you just said, I'm gonna go on your birth control.
It's true, yeah, it's true.
And we have a really special guest here today.
Today we're replacing Baby with an even bigger star.
Not necessarily, but
she's got twice the tongue.
And twice the attitude. This is my dog, Mia. I'm looking after her for my parents who are on vacation. If you heard weird noises coming from behind us, that was Mia snoring. That was not us.
Yeah. I swear.
I swear.
Thank you for joining us.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye. She's so soft.
I know.